Hi everybody, this is MVK. Welcome back to my channel. Today we will discuss on SAP Finance and Control module. What are the opportunities around this? What kind of salary an individual will get, and what kind of a career progression happens, and what kind of sub-modules this particular module have, and what are the prerequisites. But before starting that, let me give a quick introduction. I have given my LinkedIn profile over here. You can see that in the comment section as well. I am Vijay Kumar. I am called as MVK. I am currently working in Dubai. This is my profile. I've been in IT industry for about 25 years. I am working for one of the big four company as director. I have multiple years of experience at the senior leadership level. I've started this particular channel to support all the career aspirants, students, freshers. Please subscribe and like and share with your friends and benefit from this particular channel. Let's main presentation. Okay, so let's discuss this particular SAP Finance module in the form of lessons, like how you can achieve a typically a role in SAP, right? So for that there is a 5-lesson approach or 5-step approach which you need to follow. First is you need to understand the business processes and accounting processes. Then you need to know what kind of end user processes are there. Then it is required to learn SAP configuration. Then you need to learn how SAP is implemented, the methodology. Then finally do some kind of internships or demo projects so that you are ready for getting into SAP jobs. I've been in SAP for a longer period. I've done more than 40 to 45 SAP implementations, managed massive number of employees in SAP area. So let me give a quick understanding of these areas and you be ready for that to get into. First thing which I mentioned here is understand business processes and accounting processes. SAP is an ERP. When you say ERP, it have the business processes. At the end of the day, you take any particular client. Let's assume that there is a customer. Let's assume DMart as a company. DMart company will have its own departments. You might have seen a lot of retail side, right? So there will be a sales cycle and there will be a procurement cycle where procurement department, in other words, where the products are being purchased. Then there will be an inventory section, our inventory department who will manage the inventory. Then there will be a HR department, meaning like you might be required a lot of resources to be recruited and you might be doing performance appraisal and whatever activities which are related to the human resources, you need to have a department. And last but not least, you also need a finance department which will take care about recording of all your business transactions and preparing your profit and loss statement, balance sheet. Of course, initially you will prepare ledger, then trial balance, then profit and loss account, balance sheet. So at the end of the day, you have various departments and you have various functions to follow. So if you want to get into typically an SAP finance or any role, any functional role, There are various modules, like I have prepared another video. You can check that to know what kind of modules are there. If you want to become an consultant, if you want to become an SD consultant, if you want to become a typical production consultant, any consultant, you need to know the business processes. So these are the prerequisites. If you are an MBA graduate, you might have studied this in the principles of management, and you might have various subjects at your graduation level. One is HR, finance. You might have studied all those things, right? And you might have done one way or other way around a lot of internship as well as field visits, wherein you might knowing the business processes by now. If not, spend some time, understand the functions of business. There is no rocket science. You open typically principles of management and read through. So open the HR. If you want to get into HR, open the HR main book. Similarly, financial management, open your financial management book and study, then you will get the base things, right? So these are pretty much important to start a career in SAP. Okay, so the first thing is you need to know the business processes, including accounting processes, right? So you need to know what is debit and credit, or you need to know how a company accounts are being prepared, if you are going and implementing SAP for a partnership company, you need to know the typical bookkeeping techniques as well as the rules and regulations, right? This is must, right? So if you are not comfortable or if you are not expert in that, I will suggest please do not pick SAP FICO module at all. This particular module requires definitely accounting background. Okay. Now, once you are comfortable in that from a business side as well as from typically accounting side, the second thing is you need to learn what are the end user processes from SAP point of view. See, whenever you go and approach for any SAP training, right? The SAP training, you got to make sure there are two areas covered. One is the end user processes as well as the SAP configuration. What is end user processes and what is in SAP configuration? Whenever you go ahead, for example, I'll take the same DMAT example, right? DMAT as an organization decided to have SAP software. Manually, I mean, if there is no SAP, probably they might be using Excel, they might be recording each and every transaction, sales transaction. Then from there, they will sum that and put it in the another Excel. They might be doing a lot of manual work, right? So to avoid such things, probably they might have decided to go ahead with an ERP and they selected SAP as an ERP. Now, when they select SAP as an ERP, what happens? Somebody will come and implement SAP. I will explain who is that somebody, will discuss more on that. Once SAP is implemented, now you in the sense like there is a finance team who is sitting and using the system, right? When they are using the system, there are business processes. Just now I will explain what are the business process, typically a sales cycle. Like when you take a sales cycle, somebody will come inquire, they will do inquiry, you will give a quotation for that. If they like, they will confirm it, then they will pay advance, you deliver the product and they will pay the entire balance amount, right? This is a typical business process. Likewise, these steps, there is a defined business standard or best practices steps or business processes has been formulated by SAP, and those things are made available to the users. If you are a sales guy sitting in front of the system and doing this, or if you are an accountant and you are using SAP system, how step 1, step 2, step 3 is being followed, that particular process is nothing but end user process, right? This is something which you need to learn first. So whenever you go, if you take SAP training, official training, right? So they will start like this. First, they will explain you the business process, the end user business process. First, you need to get expertise on that. Once you get the expertise on this and you are comfortable and you are able to do it easily, the next step comes is SAP configuration. Configuration. SAP configuration is nothing but like the concept over here is in SAP, what happens is once the end user configuration, end user processes are been already trained to you, and if it is already you are knowing that, the next step is you need to know how to build that. And for this, it's not a rocket science. Like unlike if you are a Java programmer or C++ or any language, it's very difficult, right? You need to know the coding, other stuff. No, in SAP, it is not like that. Because SAP is a ERP application, meaning it's a product. It is just go and install and do a small modification so that the product will be available for the users. So in this way, in this particular configuration, what happens? The trainer, if you go and join the SAP coaching center, they will show you how to do this particular settings, right? That is nothing but SAP configuration training. So you learned the business processes, you practiced on that, then you also learn how to set up that in the system. Once these two are done, now the major steps comes here is you need to know the methodology, right? So if, for example, you are constructing a house, right? If you are constructing a house, there is a procedure. First, you need to dig initial holes for that and put some foundation. You have certain steps to do, right? Similarly, in SAP also, there is a methodology which you need to follow whenever you are going and setting up the product for the customer. This is nothing but this is called as implementation, SAP implementation. I will be preparing another detailed presentation. You can check that. You wait for that. You please go through that. Then you will understand how SAP is implemented. There are various steps and there are various activities you need to do it, right? So then SAP implementation completed, then you need to get into a real mode. Like this is where the actual things happens, because you know the product, you know the business processes, you know the configuration, you also know how it happens phase by phase. Now you need to have a hands-on experience. For that, try to join as a fresher, whatever the salary it is, 3 months, 6 months, join. There are various companies who will give option, like you can join as a shadow consultant, you can join as an intern, whatever they call it as. You go and do it and gain the experience. If not, there are a lot of companies, there are a lot of training institutes who will give the dummy project experience also. This is pretty much important, because you need to work as a group. You need to work with other functional consultants. You need to work with your end customer. So it is very, very important for you to know this. If you are able to do this 1 to 5, you are ready. You are ready as an SAP consultant. In SAP world, you are not called as software engineer. In SAP, the designations are different. We call them, the initial role may be an associate consultant, then a consultant, then a senior consultant, then a lead consultant, then a principal consultant, then a project manager, then program manager. Right? So your roles in SAP are more consultant. You are not called as software engineer because you are not doing any coding here. You are a doctor. That's the reason you have been called as a consultant. So keep that in mind, that you will be called as a consultant. Okay, now let's move on to the next one. We have understood how the various steps are executed in SAP career. Now let's get into a step lower. What are the business processes or sub-modules which are part of finance? Okay. In SAP Finance, you have general ledger, accounts payable, accounts receivable, and asset accounting. These are the major ones. There are few more sub-modules which I don't want to touch now, but these are the key ones. When you say sub-module or a set of business processes, what is this? It's simple. If you're an accountant, you will be managing a journal. And from the journal, you will be going ahead with the ledger, right? You will prepare a ledger. From the ledger, you will go and do the trial balance. Then from there, you will have accounts pay, you will have profit and loss account and balance sheet. In SAP also there is no exception, right? The general ledger is nothing but a ledger which is equivalent to an account in your accounts regular one. This is where all your general entries are recorded, and how it is recorded, where it is recorded, what are the processes, all these things will be taught in this particular section. Then accounts payable, accounts receivable, asset accounting. See, these three are sub ledgers in SAP, meaning if you have a customer group, right, like in your ledger also, you might be maintaining an accounts payable and account receivable sub ledger, right? Like you will be maintaining a list of customers if there is any outstanding. You'll be managing a list of vendors if there is any outstanding to be paid, right? So that particular entire business transactions are covered here. Now coming to the asset accounting is something which will talk about your fixed assets. You might have a lot of fixed assets, right? If in an organization might have furniture, fixtures, laptops, plant and machinery, a lot of things will be there. You need to manage them. You need to maintain that particular assets in your accounts, right? Obviously they are under your balance sheet, and you also need to maintain the depreciation. And within the depreciation, you have various kinds. You have a depreciation model which will be used for Companies Act, Income Tax Act, all. After SAP Finance, the next one is SAP Controlling. It is also known as SAP CO. Okay. Typically, it is nothing but SAP Management Accounting. You might have studied management accounting and cost accounting if you have studied Bachelor of Commerce or MCOM, right? So those areas which are related to the costing as well as management accounting are covered in SAP Controlling. See, SAP Finance, what we learned in the previous section, whatever the business transactions which you are recording, those are mandatory as per the legal compliance. You got to prepare your ledger, your trial balance, profit and loss account, and balance sheet if you are a company. Okay, if you are a private limited company or a public limited company, it is a mandatory to prepare that. Even for that matter, even if you are a partnership as well as sole trade, it is mandatory to prepare those statements at the end of the year to declare your profit or loss to competent authorities, either it may be income tax or the Companies Act or whatever. But coming to this SAP Controlling, this is not a mandatory one. This is something meant for the internal stakeholders, meaning you will have your own senior management within the organization, and senior management want to see the performance of various departments, various products, and also they want to understand the cost vis-a-vis the profitability, right? To get that reporting, this particular module was created. Now when you see this, the contents of this particular module, you will have cost center, profit center, and internal order accounting. This is nothing but dividing your organization into separate parts, right? Cost center, profit center. I already given examples, like a department, right? We said HR department, finance department, sales department. So such kind of departments can be called as either cost centers or profit centers, and you will be capturing the cost and income generated out of those departments, and then you will publish that internally. It's a massive concept to explain. I given at a very high level overview. The details will be available once you join in the program. Then profitability analysis is something which will talk about profit by the product, by the customer group, to derive that particular reporting, this particular module is used. And product costing is nothing but what kind of the product cost it is, meaning when you are if you want to sell a product, you also need to know the cost of the product, right? Obviously, a product cost is not just a procurement cost of that particular material. You might be loading the manufacturing, the overheads in terms of the labor cost. There are various elements to go that, this entire thing is automated in the product costing. It's a massive and lovely subject to study. And I prefer, if you are strong in mathematics, in accounts, I strongly recommend you get into more into this area. This is the area where there will be a lot of opportunities. Okay. Now, to conclude, right? So from a SAP finance and controlling point of view, if you are strong in accounts, strong in capturing the business processes and see every scenario as to end to end, then this is the area to pick. This area, this particular SAP FICO is one of the strongest area in SAP. Because of this particular module only, SAP is there in the market for more than 40 years. And today, SAP have more than 290K customers globally. And it is having almost 75% market share in the global market, meaning like if you out of every 100, 70 customers are using SAP. So you can see the kind of breadth and depth SAP have in the market. But the challenge also is that hence it's a massive one and you see a lot of laterals in the market. But still you have opportunity. There are a lot of requirements in the industry who are experts and who is at a fresher level. Spend time, learn in deep, and definitely you will get. And I mean, SAP will have a very good salary packages as well. You can easily earn a lakh to a couple of lakhs with a 3-4 years experience. 5 years experience, you can make a CTC of easily 10 to 15 lakhs. And over the time, if you once you have maybe 8 to 10 years of experience, or 7 to 8 years of experience, you will reach at a 30 to 40, 35 to 40 lakhs bracket in India. It's a massive one, and there is a huge amount of demand in the market. Definitely, you can shine. Don't give up. So I'm done from my side. If you have any doubts, you can send comments. I'll try to respond to you. I'm also publishing my email ID. If you have any questions, feel free, send emails. You follow me on my LinkedIn. I will be publishing any job opportunities or training courses where they are good, and please try to utilize that and shine and spread the information to all your friends. Let us make this India an IT India which is there already, and let's make it more and more strong across the technologies. Let us contribute for that. Thank you once again. Please subscribe and share. Bye bye.